All right, today we're going to dive into the mental game of trading. Seriously, if you've ever felt like your own emotions were your absolute worst enemy in the market, then this explainer is for you. It's all based on the incredible work of performance coach Jared Tendler.
So let's just start with the one question that drives so many traders crazy. You know you're smart. You've got a solid strategy. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. So why in the world do you keep making the same costly mistakes over and over again? It's this maddening cycle, right? And that's the core problem we're going to unpack.
To get to the bottom of that, we first have to understand what's really going on in our heads. So let's start by laying out these psychological traps that can catch even the most seasoned traders off guard.
Does any of this look a little too familiar? Revenge trading after a loss, chasing trades because of FOMO, hesitating when you know you should pull the trigger, impulsively moving your stops. These are what Tendler calls your C-game mistakes, basically you at your worst. But here's the thing, they aren't just random screw-ups, they're symptoms of something deeper. And just seeing them as a pattern, that's the first huge step.
So how do we actually fix this? For years, the advice has always been the same. Just control your emotions, suppress your fear. But the real breakthrough, the new insight, isn't about fighting or suppressing anything. It's about analyzing your emotions, understanding your fear, and actually decoding your greed. This right here is the aha moment, when you stop trying to fight your emotions and you start listening to what they're trying to tell you. Let's really dig into that idea, because this is the core philosophy behind this entire system for getting better. And honestly, it changes everything. Here it is, the big idea. Your emotions are not the problem. They are data. That knot in your stomach, that fear you feel before entering a trade, or that flash of anger after a loss, that's not you failing. That is a valuable signal pointing directly to a hidden flaw in your mental game. Maybe it's a bias you didn't know you had, or some totally unrealistic expectation. Think about it like this. When the check engine light comes on in your car, what do? You don't grab a hammer and smash the dashboard, right? Of course not. You pop the hood to find out what's wrong with the engine. Your emotions, the anger, the fear, the greed, they're just that light. They are an alert. The real work is investigating the engine, your underlying beliefs and your logic.
Okay, so if our emotions are signals, how do we actually read them and fix the engine? This is where it gets really practical. Let's look at the actionable system you can use to resolve these issues.
It's a really straightforward three-step process. First, you map your patterns. You basically become a detective of your own mind, keeping track of what triggers these emotional mistakes. Second, you use that map to find the root cause. Is it really FOMO, or is it a hidden belief that you should never lose a trade? And finally, you apply a very specific correction to fix that root flaw, not just the symptom on the surface.
I mean, as Tendler himself says, you can't kill a weed unless you get the roots out. Just telling yourself, okay, stop revenge trading, is like snipping the top off a weed. You know it's just going to grow right back. If you want lasting change, you have to dig down and pull out the root, that flawed piece of logic that's causing the whole problem in the first place.
Now, this next part is really cool. It's a concept that completely reframes what real progress actually looks like. It's a super powerful mental model for building consistency. Most of us think that getting better at something means having more of those amazing A-game days, where you're just in the zone and everything clicks. We put all our energy into trying to reach that peak performance, trying to be some kind of superhero trader. But here's the genius and kind of counterintuitive part of this interim concept. True, lasting progress doesn't come from pushing your best days to be even better. It comes from raising your floor. It's about making your worst days, well, less bad. So to really get this, we've got these three levels. Your A game is when you're on fire, making perfect decisions. B game is just your average, everyday performance. And your C game, that's when the emotions take over and you make all those mistakes we talked about earlier. The goal isn't to live in your A game forever. It's to improve your B and C games. And this brings us to the real goal. Look at the inconsistent trader. There's this huge gap between their best days and their worst days. A truly consistent trader, on the other hand, has narrowed that gap. And they do it by systematically fixing their C game mistakes, which pulls their whole performance range up. It's like an inchworm. You got to move your back end forward before you can really push your front end ahead. So what does all of this actually mean for you? How do you take these ideas and really start using them? Let's bring it all together. If you remember anything, remember these 4 things. 1. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are data. Stop fighting them. 2. Use a system, map, identify, and correct to get to the root of your mistakes. 3. Forget about being perfect. Focus on raising your performance floor by fixing your C game. And finally, remember, you can't control the market. It's going to do what it's going to do. But you can always control your response to it, and that's where your power is.
So we'll leave you with this one question to really think about. The next time you make one of those frustrating C-game mistakes, don't just get mad at yourself. Stop and ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? What's the flaw in my thinking here? Because asking that question, that's the first step toward real, lasting improvement.